Hey everybody, this is Darren Sabedra again, Bay Area News Group, Mercury News, East Bay Times, here with Christian Babcock. As we've noted earlier, Nathan Canilao is out on leave, welcoming in a new baby to his family. So we will not be seeing Nathan for a couple more weeks, right, Christian?
Yeah, he's going to be out a little more. As we said last week, good luck to him and his wife. Great news that they're welcoming in another kid, and best of luck with everything going on with that.
Exactly. We are heading into week 10, where the playoffs are, the path to the playoffs is getting much closer. We can actually see the playoffs now as opposed to being way off in the distance. But Christian, we had some breaking news this morning as we tape on here on Tuesday. Christian, why don't you tell us about the news release that Menlo School sent out this morning?
Yeah, so if you haven't been super up to date on Peninsula Athletic League Bay Division football, Menlo School told us this morning that they will not be playing Wilcox this week. They basically just don't have enough players, which if you read Monday Morning Lights, which astute readers should do, you would have learned that they really had some struggles after the game against Los Gatos. They've had, they have a small roster. They've had some issues with injuries this year, and I think it's just kind of a lingering thing where it's kind of come to a head. So Obviously unfortunate news, but there will be no football game at Wilcox. There will be a JV football game, I should say, but there will be no varsity football game at Wilcox this Friday.
Right. Menlo School, obviously a very elite private school on the peninsula. Coach Todd Smith's done a great job there with that program. It is a small school. And numbers, they've always had small numbers on their football team. Same with neighboring Sacred Heart Prep, I believe. And, on paper, it looks good when you merge, leagues together and you've got top teams playing against one another. But the computers and the projections and people looking at the scores, they don't take into account that playing against quality competition in a sport like football wears and tears on the body, and you need depth to compete at a high level in leagues like the PAL Bay or the WCAL or the EBAL Mountain. And it kind of speaks to a larger issue with football that if you don't have 35, 40 minimum, right? I mean, some schools have 50, kids on the team. It is really hard to compete. And you see these coaches who are great coaches like Todd Smith, and they have good programs and they win, decisively against teams with similar sized rosters. So they get moved up to face the big boys like Los Gatos or Wilcox. And we see what it's done to them, right?
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, after that Los Gatos game, I was kind of thinking, just looking at, how many Menlo kids had to leave the game. It kind of reminded me of a Big Ten football game where they talk about sometimes a team beats you twice. I was thinking, gosh, it's going to be hard for them to turn around and play Wilcox now. So I didn't think it would end this way with a forfeit, but it definitely seemed like it was sort of trending in the wrong direction for Menlo. So hopefully their kids are able to heal up and have a big game against Sacred Heart Prep next week.
Right. Forfeits are, this is the first one in the PAL Bay since, I believe, 2019, right? With Aragon forfeiting against Menlo Atherton, and Aragon's program, which was in the Bay for a while, has dropped down, I believe, 2 tiers now in the PAL. I don't even think they're in the De Anza, right?
I think they're in the Ocean.
Yeah, they've dropped down. Obviously, the infamous forfeit was Sarah's when the CCS had a consolation round for football, believe it or not, for one season, and Sarah forfeited a consolation championship game. It sounds like basketball, but forfeited a consolation championship game back, I believe it was like 2014, which did not go over well with CCS. Sarah ended up being penalized and wasn't able to compete in the playoffs the next season. But that was because they forfeited a CCS game, and Menlo will not be penalized or anything by CCS because this was not a CCS situation. This was a league situation, and I'm not sure what the answer is next, because Menlo, I doubt their roster is going to get bigger moving forward. And you keep putting these teams in, in the PAL Bay. What do you do with Los Gatos and Wilcox moving forward? They've kind of separated themselves from the rest of that league. I mean, they're in the highest division. I mean, I don't know what you do.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, I think the fact that we see this in the highest league shows how widespread it is. I mean, we have forfeits occasionally in the lower levels generally of the PAL or maybe the BVAL, but this is kind of new ground. But I think it's symptomatic of the challenges that high school football is dealing with today.
Yeah, exactly. NCS has the same thing, if you're, I believe California High is going to play this week. There's no indication that they're not, but I mean, they got to play De La Salle and then try to get ready for the playoffs right around the corner. So it's a tough situation, but we'll be monitoring it and reporting on it as always. Got a big game, and let's talk about an actual game that will happen. Acalanes wanted it to be on Thursday. Clayton Valley wanted it to be on Saturday. This is according to Monday Morning Lights. So as you mentioned, Christian, you got to read Monday Morning Lights. Evan Weback, our colleague, had a nice item previewing the Acalanes Clayton Valley game, which will be for the Diablo Athletic League Foothill Division title on Friday. It will be on Friday at Acalanes because the teams could not agree on which day to play it. Neither wanted to play it on Halloween, but Clayton did not want to play on Thursday because Acalanes was coming off a bye. Clayton had to play Campo Lindo last Friday, and Acalanes, according to the Clayton Valley coach Nick Tisa, did not want to play on Saturday. So the game will be Friday night, Halloween night, trick or treat. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this game unfolds. What about you?
Yeah, I think this is maybe more of an intriguing game than we thought. Obviously, Clayton's win over Campo makes it, probably a de facto DAL title game with 1 week left to play in the season. And it's interesting to me because I picked Campo to win that game last week, and it was a close game, came down to the very end. And I think Clayton has shown us some stuff in the DAL. I'm not, sure they're on Acalanes level this year, but I think this is a really big sort of progress bar game for both teams. I mean, Acalanes won this game last year. That was a huge win for them. And if I recall, that was a 1 point game. I think it was very close. Yeah. So if Acalanes wins this 2 years in a row, I think we're going to have to say they're the new standard bearer in the DAL. And when we thought Clayton was coming back from the eval, we kind of thought they'd go right back to that. So we'll see. This is a big game to kind of show the progress of both programs.
And for Clayton, this will be the league championship if they win. I mean, the winner will win the league. Acalanes has one more league game next week. Clayton closes against De La Salle in a non-league game next week. So this is Clayton's final league game. So they've already blown out Las Lomas and Miramonte and had a tight game with Campo Lindo, but they are 3-0 heading into this game. And we'll touch more about it on our picks. Real quickly, what the eyebrow-raising result from last weekend was Monte Vista hammering California by 3 touchdowns, 34-13, dropped California out of the top 10, really caused a reshuffling of the deck in our rankings. Christian, Monte Vista now has a path to winning the EBAL Mountain Division. They got Amador Valley this week, and they close against arch rival San Ramon Valley next week.
They do, yeah. A very unexpected result, especially by that margin. I mean, I think we thought there was maybe an outside shot Monte Vista could win that game, but the way Cal's played, we were very impressed. But, talking to Danny Calcagno after that game, he was trying to warn them about what Monte Vista would bring to the table up there in Danville. And I think it was just a bad spot. I mean, Monte Vista came out firing on all cylinders. The line play was really good for them. And, they were able to dominate that game in the trenches. Cal's had some injuries up front, it sounds like, and it just kind of got rolling downhill, which can happen. And, I mean, what a great year for Monte Vista. If they're able to get this AV game and they're able to finish it off with beating SRV, that's a fantastic season up there for the Mustangs. So we'll see if they can do it.
We'll see. Let's get to the picks. We're going to pick 14 games. We had to take one off the board when we found out this morning that Wilcox and Menlo School will not be playing. So we're going to start on Thursday. A lot of Thursday games because a lot of teams did agree to play on Thursday rather than playing on Halloween night. So we have 6 games to pick on Thursday, starting with Hayward at 5-3, going to be playing Irvington. Also, oh no, Irvington is 6-2. This game is going to be at TAC Fidena Stadium in Fremont. The computer, hsratings.com, says, don't even bother. This game's not going to be close. It says 44-13 Hayward. Christian, does the computer have it right?
I'm not sure by that margin. That was surprising to me to see the width of that margin. Having seen Irvington, they have some good players. Gabe Arua is a really nice, wide receiver cornerback for them. But Hayward, I mean, they've just been really impressive this year. Maurice Hall has been great for them. I think they have a balanced team. They have kind of a deep team. They got some good transfers in this year. So I'm not seeing 44. What'd you say, 44-13?
44-13.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that, but I could see by a few touchdowns. I think Hayward's having a good year.
All right, so it's a clean sweep for the Farmers as Nathan, Glenn Reeves, and myself. We all pick Hayward. Next game on the list, this is going to be for the WACC Foothill Division title. James Logan was undefeated in league play, had a loss last week to San Leandro, so they're a game behind O'Dowd, but this is O'Dowd is undefeated in league play. Both teams are 5-3. I'm taking O'Dowd. Reeves is taking O'Dowd. Nathan's taking O'Dowd. Computer has O'Dowd winning close, 26-22. You're going to be at this game. Who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, it'll be my first time at Logan since high school, I think. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I think O'Dowd just kind of the standard bearer in this division. I think maybe it could be helpful to Logan, that loss to San Leandro. I would think, they're not going to sleepwalk into this game if there was any chance of that. And, there should be a good crowd, good atmosphere. These schools are relatively close to each other. But I'm going with O'Dowd. I like that program under Hardy Nickerson. They just kind of seem to be the standard bearer in that league right now, and I think it'll continue this year.
All right. So clean sweep for O'Dowd. Next one on the list, Hillsdale, Half Moon Bay. Computer says Half Moon Bay wins 35-20. We all have Half Moon Bay. You got Half Moon Bay too, or you could take in Hillsdale?
I do. I think Half Moon Bay's kind of been an under the radar team for us this year in our coverage area. We'll see what division they end up in CCS, maybe 3-4 is what I'm guessing, but I could see them, springing an upset and making some noise. I think they got a good program up there.
They definitely have a good program. So you got Half Moon Bay as well. Next game, another PAL game. We're Milpitas, formerly of the Santa Clara Valley Athletic League. They will be hitting the road to play Sequoia. Both teams are 4-4. It looks like I have Sequoia. Reeves has Sequoia. The computer has Sequoia 27-19. Nathan's going Milpitas. Christian, your eyes got really big there, so I take it you are not taking Milpitas in this game.
No, and in fact, I figured we'd do clean sweep Sequoia, and I'm gonna go with Sequoia. And I think this is just another example. I mean, Milpitas had a good start to the year, but with doing this story on Menlo and Wilcox and sort of the SCVAL PAL merger, I think Milpitas has really been kind of a casualty of that, and they're still trying to find their footing. It's kind of disappointing to see how far they've fallen. I mean, we were talking about the glory days with Vita Vea, which, of course, that's a great player to build your program around. But, yeah, I think Sequoia's got this one, and we'll see, where Milpitas goes from here. I know they got Woodside next week, so we'll see. We'll see.
Computer has Sequoia winning 27-19. Next one on the list, Menlo Atherton at 3-5, going to be hitting the road to play Los Gatos at 5-3. Los Gatos has been pretty much not pretty much. They have been the dominant team in the PAL Bay this season. They're going to be taking on a Menlo Atherton team that's had a couple of nice wins in the Bay Division. Some rough losses early on. I got Los Gatos. Everybody's got Los Gatos, including the computer at 44-7. I take it you're taking the Cats as well.
Yeah, something that Menlo coach Todd Smith brought up after the game. Los Gatos just runs through teams, and he said they didn't run through Menlo, which I generally agree with. Menlo held up pretty well, but Los Gatos, they just have so much depth. I think they got about 50 players on varsity, something like that, 40, 50, and they're all pretty big and skilled, and they got just tons of weapons on offense to get the ball to. So Los Gatos for sure.
All right. This is the last Thursday game on our list. We're noted in Monday Morning Lights that Antioch has been definitely under the radar this season. They're 7-1. They're going to be taking on Liberty at 6-2. Antioch closes league play against Liberty and Pittsburgh. So we're going to find out a lot about Antioch these next 2 weeks. Might find out a lot Friday. Does Antioch have a shot traveling the short distance over to Brentwood to play Liberty?
Yeah, I think they have a shot. I mean, I'm not going to pick them to win this game. I think Liberty just, skill-wise and size-wise has a little more. I think this is kind of where the Magic's going to run out a bit for Antioch. Their schedule is extremely backloaded when you look at going to Liberty and facing Pittsburgh. But, again, this is an opportunity for them to kind of get ready for, I don't know what division they'll end up in, maybe 3-ish, 4 over in the NCS, maybe a little higher. I mean, that's a smaller program.
Outside 2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a shot.
End up in 2.
Yeah, but I mean, Liberty's just kind of, I think, a different caliber of program. But great season for Antioch, and like I said, good chance to test yourselves against the best and get ready for the playoffs.
All right, we move on to Friday, where we were going to lead off with Menlo School against Wilcox. That game is off the board. Just for the record, though, I had Wilcox. Reeves had Wilcox. Nathan had Menlo. And I think you had Wilcox. And
Yes.
the computer had Menlo, 26-21. So we will not see. Wilcox won that game. We are not going to count that. So, Nathan, you do not get a loss. We will take that off the board. This next one, San Jose at 5-3, going to be traveling over to face Evergreen Valley, 4-4. San Jose has a path to the CCS playoffs, as Glenn Reeves noted last week when San Jose beat Prospect fairly, or not fairly, they beat them convincingly. It was like 44-9 or something like that. So is San Jose reading its press clippings, or are they going to be focused and get a win on Friday night against Evergreen Valley?
No, well, if they are, they shouldn't let it get to their heads. But I mean, the way they beat Prospect, that was the most shocking result of the weekend to me. And that's the team. I believe they finished second in the West Valley last year. And they got a good team. They got some guys back. I think they're going to keep it rolling this week. And at this point, I think they might keep it rolling all the way to the West Valley title, which I don't know how long it's been, but I'd imagine it's been quite a while since San Jose High won a football league title. So that'd be a great story.
All right. So San Jose, it is a clean sweep for the Bulldogs, as the computer has San Jose winning 34-14. So everybody else is taking San Jose as well. Next one on the list, a Friday game at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco, where Sacred Heart Cathedral, coming off a thrilling, dramatic victory over Valley Christian last week, it's going to be taking on the 3-5 Lancers, who moved back into our top 10 despite that record. You got St. Francis winning this one?
I do, although, Cathedral's the kind of team that I think could give St. Francis some problems with the way they pass the ball vertically and spread the field. But I said this when we were going through the rankings last night. I've been really impressed with St. Francis. Obviously, they had a really tough non-league schedule, but they've had some really impressive results. The way they handled SI, who's, also having a down year, even more so than St. Francis. But the Lancers are building back, and I think I might have said this on the last show, but I think they might make some noise or get a result in Open D1 that we don't see coming. So
I don't think anybody wants to see St. Francis as their opponent. And, not that they would be favored against a Sarah or a Riordan or, I mean, even if you're Los Gatos, you don't want to see St. Francis, do you?
No, I don't think so. And I mean, I could see, maybe they're in the 7-8. They probably get up above that. But yeah, if they had an 8-point fourth quarter lead on Riordan, I believe that's right. So yeah, I don't think Riordan wants to see him. Sarah, the St. Francis is primed to make some noise in the playoffs.
All right, this next one on the list, we talked about Monte Vista earlier. They're at 5-3. They're going to be hitting the road, going over to Pleasanton to face Amador Valley, a state runner-up last season, but has had a rough go this year with 2 wins. They're 2-6, but they had last week off. We talked about trap games last week. I think this is a trap game for Monte Vista going to Amador Valley. What do you think?
Do you think it's enough of a trap game that you're going to pick Amador Valley?
No, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if the score is really close.
Okay, so you're not going all the way the trap.
Not going all the way. No.
There you go. No. You're warning about the trap. You're not. Yeah. You're not expecting someone to step in it.
Exactly. So, what about you? Are you taking Amador?
I'm not. No, Monte Vista. I mean, just sort of looking over their non-league results, and the way they beat Cal. I mean, Cal's a darn good team. I don't care if they were depleted. I mean, I do care to an extent. Obviously, hope those kids are okay. I don't mean it that way, but that's a really good team, and to beat them by 24, I don't care what happened. That's a really
21.
Impressive result. 21. Okay.
Yeah, 34-13, I believe.
Okay, I thought it was 10, but thank you. So. Yeah, I mean 3 touchdowns regardless. That's a heck of a margin. And I mean, with that result, like I said, I could maybe see them running the table and beating SRV. So we'll see. It starts this week. Definite trap game vibes, but I don't think they're going to step in the trap this week.
All right. So clean sweep for Monte Vista. The next one is Christopher at Lincoln San Jose. Both teams chasing Santa Teresa. I don't think they're going to catch them. Although Lincoln has Santa Teresa next week, so could. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lincoln. I think that'd be a fantastic game to set up at the end of the year. Christopher, we talked about this little Dylan Robinson, I think is growing week by week, but, still a sophomore, still got a lot to learn. And Lincoln's got Kyan Phillips, who's just an incredible player. And, Lincoln's back, Live Oak's back. It's kind of a resurgence of the South Bay extended teams, I guess you could say, going down to Morgan Hill. So yeah, I'd love to see Lincoln and Santa Teresa next week. So we'll see. Definitely got Lincoln this week.
All right, so clean sweep for Lincoln as the computer has Lincoln winning 28-19. I don't know if I mentioned what the computer score was for Monte Vista AV. They have it at 38-21. So we got Branham against Santa Teresa on the next game. This is going to be at Santa Teresa. Santa Teresa is still rolling, but the scores have been a little tighter now that they're in the BVAL Mount Hamilton division. So they're 8-0. They're going to be facing Branham at 5-3. Branham's been just good enough to lose some really crazy close games. Is this one going to be close, Christian?
Define close.
Within 10 points.
Within 10 points. I do not think so. I think this is kind of a get right week for Santa Teresa. I know they watch the show. I know you mentioned press clippings. Maybe they're watching our video clippings a little too much. But no, I know they beat Lee. I think it was 42-7, and Steve Pappin was not happy with that. He did not think they played well, and they went down 13-0 against Christopher. So I think this is either a get right week, or if there's another week where they kind of get slow going, then, then we kind of wonder, maybe that Lincoln game could be a little more impactful than we thought. But I think they're the clear standard bearer in this division. And I mean, I think they're going to get back on track this week.
All right. So it's a clean sweep for Santa Teresa. The computer says 41-27. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, with Santa Teresa, they kind of got a little bit of that Riordan where, if they get rolling, they can just kind of name the score on you. But we'll see what happens.
Right. 3 more games on the list. This is also a Friday game where Campo Lindo is going to be trying to bounce back after 2 consecutive losses. Their 6-0 start is now they're down to 6-2. They're going to be facing Las Lomas, another one of their rivals. Las Lomas at 5-3, but has had a rough go in the DAL Foothill. They lost badly, I believe, to Clayton. Right? It was like 60-something to 7 a couple weeks ago. Anyhow. Does Las Lomas have a chance in this game?
No, I'm not really seeing it. I mean, Campo is another team. They've really had some close losses that could have been wins. I mean, you flip a few things around. The Acalanes game wasn't as close, but, you flip a few things around. They could be undefeated. They definitely could be 7-1. It was a really close game last week. So I think that's a really good team. I think another team poised to make some noise in the playoffs. And, I think Kevin Macy's going to have them ready to roll, and they will roll this week.
All right, so clean sweep for Campo, and the computer, hsratings.com, projects 38-13 Campo. Sounds about right. Last Friday game on the list, where Acalanes at 8-0 coming off a bye, going to be facing Clayton Valley at 5-3. This is for the DAL Foothill Division Championship. Computer says Acalanes is going to win 38-27. I've got Acalanes winning. Reeves has Acalanes winning. Nathan has Acalanes winning. Christian, you can be bold and go with the upset.
No, I wanted to pull out the not so fast. And I do think Clayton Valley has a solid team this year. But like we talked about earlier, I think this is Acalanes' moment to shine and kind of stamp themselves as the new top dog in the DAL. And, I mean, if they get through this one, we just talked about Las Lomas. This has kind of snuck up on me personally, but they're looking at going 10-0, and I don't know when the last time was that happened. So right. I think that would sort of show the evolution of this program. I think Clayton Valley's game to give them a fight. We all know what Jadis Lucky brings to the table, but I think Acalanes is really good. I think they're going to take care of business at home.
I mean, Aca won a state title 2 years ago. Came within an inch of making it back to a state championship game last year. Changed coaches, and the new coach has been phenomenal.
Yeah, and they're playing themselves into a different conversation where now you're going to end up in a higher bracket, and you never know. So
well, right now they're looking at like a 4 or 5 seed in Open Division 1.
Yeah,
so their path to a state game will have to go through probably Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's the give and take, of competitive equity. I mean, you can have a fantastic team, maybe one of the best in school history, but then you're going to have to prove it against, like you said, a Pittsburgh. So, hey, good luck to them. But, those are the waters they want to be swimming in, and they're swimming pretty well right now.
At least they've got to win this game so they don't fall to like the 8th seed in Open Division 1 with a 9-1 record and have to play De La Salle in the first round.
Yeah, that would be a rough draw, even rougher than being 4 or 5.
Yes. Last game on the list were Mitty, which played competitively last week against Sarah. Actually had a very impressive opening drive in that game. Going to be taking on Riordan, the Crusaders at 8-0. They're going to be at home for a Saturday afternoon game. This is their last hurdle before next week's showdown at Sarah, a Friday night game under the lights at Sarah for the WCAL championship. Does Mitty have a chance to spoil the party, Christian, and give Riordan a game and maybe pull off a stunner at the end?
I don't really. What's most fascinating to me about this is the dynamics, like you said, with the schedule. I mean, Mitty's coming off a tough game against Sarah. I think Riordan could be looking ahead a little bit, which can maybe open the door for Mitty. I'm picking Riordan. I think they're going to take care of business. But, yeah, I think this game could be close, third quarter, maybe fourth quarter. But, I mean, if you're Sarah, you got to love how this is setting up. I mean, you're able to handle Mitty. You get Bellarmine this week. You're going to have an opportunity, hopefully to, kind of get through that, be healthy. And Riordan, like I said, I think Mitty could give them a really good battle. And then, Sarah, you're just sitting at home waiting for Riordan to come down 280 and go get him. So we'll see.
All right. So clean sweep for Riordan. We're all taking the Crusaders, and the computer says 35-14. That score sounds about right. I mean, Mitty's been very good this season. I mean, they've had a tough loss against St. Francis, tough loss to Sarah, and then they lost to Acalanes, which we just talked about, and they're 8-0. Yeah. So those are the 3 losses for Mitty.
Yeah, no, Mitty's a darn good team. I mean, they were down 1 against Sarah. They Kai Sniffen forced a fumble on Giovanni Henley, and they had the ball with a chance to drive, and then Henley came right back out of pick 6, and that was, that really changed the tenor of the game. But Mitty's a darn good team. Like I said, I could see you're looking third quarter, maybe even fourth quarter. I think the first 4 drives of this game are going to be really important. I mean, that's how Mitty got going against Sarah, and I think Mitty's going to have to score on one of those 2 first possessions, if not the first 2, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
They can't be looking up early second quarter and saying 21-0.
No, they can't. And the other thing is, Riordan has let teams back in games, but yeah,
that was last year though. I haven't seen Riordan let teams back in this year.
They did it with Pittsburgh, which obviously we all think Pittsburgh is pretty good. But yeah, Mitty's got to stay attached. They got to be within 7 or 14 the whole game. There's just, yeah, it's Riordan has too much firepower and too much skill all over the field to be able to match score for score that way.
And then Mitty gets Bellarmine next week. So Mitty is looking. Mitty's probably going to be, well, not probably. I would think Mitty's going to be in CCS Open / Division 1, right, at 6-4.
Yeah, I don't see, as long as they take care of business against Bellarmine, which we all expect them to do. I think, Mitty's another team. I think Mitty gets a little more matchup dependent than St. Francis, but they could definitely surprise someone if they're not, looking too carefully at what Mitty brings to the table.
All right. Good show as always. I'm ready for week 10. Hard to believe we've now reached the double figure number.
Yeah, for sure. And we've discussed this amongst ourselves, but I feel like this is kind of a setup week. There are kind of a lot of games with teams at the top of the division playing a team in the middle or lower down. Next week is absolutely loaded with great matchups. So looking forward to seeing how this week sets up next week, and next week should be phenomenal.
All right. I think that's a wrap. Christian, did you stay awake to watch all 18 innings last night? The baseball game?
Yes, but let's see if I can recount this. I watched the beginning of that game, and then I turned on the Warriors, and then I turned the TV off for like an hour or whatever. I heard it was still on the 15th, and I flipped it on. I was not in the room when Freddie Freeman, decided to crush the dreams of the entire country of Canada. I think I was doing laundry at that time. But yeah, I was looking in. I really like those long games. There's something romantic. I know, like the Tigers Mariners, I had that on to the bitter end. So
he's a Canadian, Freddie Freeman. Mom born in Canada, dad born in Canada, played for the Canadian national team in the World Baseball Classic. So
he wasn't born in Canada, was he?
He was not born in Canada.
Okay, honorary Canadian.
Yes, I believe he has a Canadian passport. So
there you go.
All right, that's a wrap. Check us out, mercurynews.com, eastbaytimes.com. Get a digital subscription. Last time I checked, it was $3 for one whole year. $3 one whole year. So
we love you, we need you, we appreciate you. Please.
There you go. All right, that is a wrap.